I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got heart, I'm ready to change. Scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, cause I'm great at that. Oh, you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. I mean, guys, for some reason, I'm still playing the intro video on my hand there. So I hope you guys are doing well, man. Of course, of course, of course. If we still on mute, let me know. If I'm still on mute here, this computer, I want to punt it to the next forecast. I want to send it with Aaron Boone to the toilet. Yes, indeed. So we're gonna talk about a lot of different things here tonight. Thought I had a panel, but I don't know. So we'll see. Let's put that stop for a moment there. There we go. Now I can see. Now I can see, said the blind man. Indeed, this computer is driving me bananas. This computer is driving me bananas. So hopefully we can get the situation rolling. Let's get right into it with the pleasantry. Salute everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. And let's go right into it. Aaron Boone. Is Aaron Boone the biggest threat for the Yankees here in the American League East? I am going to go on a rant here in a moment. I want to talk about yesterday's 4-3 loss to the New York Mets in extra innings in Citi Field. When you have your ace pitcher, in Garrett Cole, I'll bring you in a second, Weston. Give me a second. When you bring your ace pitcher and you expect 7+ innings from your man who's making a handsome amount of money for your organization, you expect him with 95 pitches to go into that 7th inning. Now, I'm going to put a mutual blame on the manager as well as the pitcher, but maybe the pitcher. Remember, the player can only go as far as politicking or lobbying to go back out there, because there is still a pecking order. Just like in every walk of life, there's an order. There's an order with manager. There's in the military, baseball, at home, in life, period. There's a natural order. You don't be disrespectful. You can make a point without being disrespectful. But maybe Boone, maybe Cole doesn't want to fight City Hall every time, because it seems like and we saw the night before, the manager doesn't have a temperature of the damn game, of what's going on, because he's following a freaking script, like if it's the WWE, Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, New Japan Wrestling. I'm going to name all the wrestling companies, and it's not the way it goes. This is a human game. Not every day you wake up as perky or as jittery or bubbly as you work up every day. This morning, I'm going to be honest with you, I woke up fatigued. I was tired. You know what? I came back home from work. I was extremely exhausted. Doesn't mean tomorrow I'm not going to wake up perky because it's Friday, ready to go. That's the problem when it comes to this analytics with the baseball. It works. Yes, there's numbers. And I have Heel, who's going to, who was a big analytics proponent and loves the analytics. And there is room for analytics. But my point is, up to last night's game, maybe Cole just put his hands. Sometimes you have to just put your hands in the air and say, F it, and two tears in the bucket and kick and just go. And you know what? The manager wants to take me out. It's on him. And I thought Cole should have went 7 innings. I thought he should have pitched 115 pitches last night. Again, it's a rivalry game. You have a chance here to take 2 from the Mets. And I think the manager got scared of what happened to Severino the night before. The Yankees came back and won that game despite. And I think the manager spooked himself out of it. The second guessing, that shows me a man who's not confident, who doesn't have any confidence, who doesn't have a pair of testicles in that dugout, who has Brian Cashman's finger or his hand, his wrist so far up his anus that he can't make his own decisions. And again, excellent question, excellent point. Cole is not Severino. I got you that. And you're absolutely correct. You're comparing apples to bananas from a buffoon who doesn't know the difference. For the Yankees to yesterday lose that game 4-3 with the excuse with a day off today. Okay, you had a day off Monday. You have a day off today. Oh, we can't pitch certain pitchers back-to-back days and stuff like that. Listen, since you've been a manager of the New York Yankees for the last 6 years, we have so many injuries to our freaking relievers that is comical. The laundry list of relievers that have been injured since you have been the manager of this team. And I'm sorry, everyone say it's Cashman. BS. It's the way you manage the damn bullpen. You manage this bullpen atrociously. With these kid gloves, whatever the case is, guys are getting injured under your watch. That's under your record. The way you want to pump your chest. Oh, I've won 100 games since I've been manager. The quickest in Yankees history to get this X amount of numbers is the same. You have to wear that same cap of all these injuries that are happening to relievers from Betances. I mean, we got the list of names down the line. You do not know how to manage a damn bullpen. You do not know how to manage the ins and outs of baseball games. From simple moves, when you have a rookie who is struggling with a runner on second, with no outs, you have to bunt. He shouldn't be immune from laying down a sacrifice bunt. And you know what? You don't want to hear this nonsense. Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't do that. You know what? That's why you have coaches. That's why you have pre and post games, practices. You know what? If I'm the manager here, if you got to Boston and the workouts, your ass is sitting there and you're bunting. I want everyone there, and I want bunting clinic. You know what? If you don't know how to bunt as a manager, you get yourself a coach that knows how to bunt. There's plenty of scouts. There's plenty of assistants or former past Yankee legends that can teach you how to bunt. You telling me Luis Sojo isn't doing nothing right now? Bring in Luis Sojo in here. Bring him in there. Give them work with them for a week how to bunt. And I'm not saying you're gonna bunt every time up. Oh, every player has to bunt. No, but teach them how to execute the techniques of a bunt. So when the time comes here, you do those drives. You do the small things that makes a winning ball club. This team is not a winning ball club the way they play. And my God, they're doing this. They're talented, but my God, this manager doesn't help. This manager is a detriment to the team to win the American League East. He's cost the Yankees at least seven games off my top of my head because of his lack of manager skills or intervention. If you listen, you got guys that are struggling. Guys are mightily struggling. I want to get Barrett on Twitter credit here because he tweeted me or forwarded me an interesting stat ahead of the stream. I want to thank him so much on that. I'll find it in a second. Once I find it, I'll share it with you on what I saw. And I'm like, wow, that was an interesting one. Thank you for that. He told me Rizzo batting 038 since June 5th. This is all since June 5th. Giancarlo Stanton 091. Donaldson 091. Torres 200. LeMahieu 217. These are the guys that are supposed to be picking up the slack for the New York Yankees while Aaron Judge sits on the IL, not putting all your eggs in a basket on the Willie Calhouns and Bowers, McKenney, and they're done well. Believe it or not, those guys have stepped up to their limited capacity for as a role for the New York Yankees. They have stepped up minorly. But the other guys who are supposed to be getting paid and their starters have done squat do crap. And that we cannot take that. We cannot accept it. We cannot agree with it. As I'm going to say hello to Heel, who's joining me. What's going on, Mr. Heel?
Nothing much. I'm just I decided to look up the probables for the Red Sox Yankee series, and
Yes,
everything that I see here, I mean, I see that you guys probably should win the series when it comes to the pitching matchups, but like you said, the offense is really struggling mightily without Judge, and that's worrisome. Especially considering the guys who should be picking up the slack. I mean, these are guys that Rizzo just got a decent sized contract to come back to the Yankees, and he's struggling. I don't know what's happening. Rather it's the neck, or maybe he just doesn't have it right now. Stanton, for some reason, it seems like it's either home run or miss. Gleyber Torres, I mean, he should be an everyday at least solid starter, but for some reason he's either benching or he's starting. I don't know. It's worrisome how much Judge has to carry this offense sometimes.
correct. And I just want to make this clear. I'm the Yankee fan on the program as well as Flash, Chris, and others. Heel is a objective set of eyes. He is a Houston, Texas Ranger. He's a Texas fan, Texas baseball fan. I ask him because he's really good with getting numbers. He's really good at getting us the stats like he just provided us. And he's bringing another perspective, because I don't want to say, well, you guys are a bunch of Yankee homers. And that's why we ask Heel Weston, aka Weston Baseball, to be part of the podcast going through, because we need something. Maybe as Yankee fans, we overvaluate or undervaluate our own home, and sometimes the outside eyes could help us at least bring a balance of what we see on our team. So this is why, why is he having a Houston fan? Before you bring that mindset or that thought in your mind, I'm going to clear it up ahead of schedule. Now back to the scheduled program here with the Yankees yesterday on that 4-3 when you joined me on the watch along with Chris. We're watching that 7th inning. You don't allow Cole to come out to pitch that. And I remember saying that to you. You never know on these relievers how they come in, night out, if they have the pinpoint control. And we saw from Cordero to Mariachi, they struggled.
Yeah, the really good teams, the one thing that separates them from like the really okay and then mediocre and bad teams is that they have what I like to call a train. They have their starter that goes 5, 6, 7 innings, and then they have their guys like that set it up for like the 7th and 8th guy, and then there's the closer, and then that's how you play the game, and hopefully it goes that way. And obviously sometimes you rest a set of guys, sometimes you'll rest your 7th inning guy, sometimes even the closer will get a rest. But I don't know if you noticed, the Yankees don't really have that type of train, as I like to call it. There's no solid 9th inning guy, there's no solid setup guy. She's like, you're getting like you don't know like who's gonna pitch when and where. Like for example, and I'm not saying this to be a homer or anything like that. or trying to piss anyone off, but when I see the Astros pitch, I already know who's coming out in the 7th or 8th. You know, it's pretty much Abreu. You know, it can be Neris. You know, it can be obviously Presley's locked in for the 9th. You already know Presley's coming there, and these type of routines, because us fans, we're creatures of habit too, and it puts our mind at ease. We already know how things are going to be like. You know, it's comfortable waking up, and then you're like, oh, you know, from an Astros point, sorry, not Astros, Yankees point of view, when you're like, Jeter's batting leadoff, you know, Bernie's probably gonna bat second, then you got like, you know, the A-Rods, Posadas, you know, it's really comforting as a fan when you already know the lineup before it even comes out, unless someone's injured or whatnot. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I get you. I was gonna say that because what have I said? You know, I've said it a nauseating time. If you watch me on the watch along, baseball players are a creature of habit. You know, they're a creature of habit. They want to. They listen. Some guys who think they're on a hitting streak, they will go the same route to the stadium. If they took a street down, if they made a right on River Avenue, they're nowhere going on Grand Concourse. If you're from the Bronx, you already know what I'm talking about. You know, they're not gonna take that avenue because when they went through River Avenue from Jerome, they were 4 for 4. The minute they come through the concourse or they go through any of the different streets, and they crossed the wrong bridge from Manhattan or George Washington, and took the tunnel or whatever the case is from Westchester, they didn't take the Deegan, they took the West Side Highway, the Hutch to the West Side. They're gonna go that route until they go over. Baseballs are superstitious creatures of habits. They want to know when they're gonna bat. If a guy went 1 for 4 and they batted in a number 1 in that leadoff spot or in the 7th, they want to stay there. They don't want to be moved and flip flop. Let me ask, and I know this is totally different, fellas. This is a whole different. This is apples to bananas or apples to toilets. Put it this way. But every Friday, for those who who work hourly rate, who work Monday through Friday, or 40 hours, no matter where you're doing your prospective job, and you work your 40 hours, you know you're going to get X amount of dollars every Friday in your pay, or every bi-weekly, whichever way you get paid. Now, how would you like it if it flip-flops? This week you make a little bit less, and you work the same amount of hours, no matter what. This is you want stability. My point is, you want the stability. You know, every week or every bi-week, you're going to get X amount of dollars and you could budget on that. And it's totally different. This is again, I'm going to say it again. This is totally different situations. But baseball players want to know, when I go in that ballpark, I'm going to play. And when I play, I'm going to be the number, the leadoff hitter, or I'm going to be the cleanup hitter. I don't know. I'm going to bat 5th, 6th, 4th today. Sometimes I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't. And that cannot be happening here with some of these ball players. Because you're confusing the living crap out of them. Because every person in that batting lineup, from leadoff to number 9 hitter, there's a purpose. You need your table setters, and the Yankees are not putting their table setters. They're putting their competitive eaters to lead off when there's no food on the table to be competitive eating. You see what I mean, Heel? And I'm gonna take it to the fat boy turn, because I'm a big boy.
Yeah, and I just want to get this out of the way. I had no problem with him actually taking out Cole. That to me wasn't the issue. I understand Cole was almost at 100 pitches. My problem was you put yourself in a bad situation when you kept bringing out your whole entire bench in one inning, and then you were left with nobody to go play in extras. That was my big problem. In the 9th of all innings, it's like, why? I understand you're trying to win the game, but I don't understand why you're just shouting out player after player after player when you have no reason to. That tells me as a fan, you're playing more on like anxiety, I guess, than really thinking things through. For example, I understand fans don't like Trevino's bat as of late, and they like Higashioka's. Well. And this is coming from a guy that, mind you, doesn't work in baseball, obviously. But even I know, if Trevino's defense is better than Higashioka's, then why not start the game with Trevino? Then if it comes down to it, then put in Higashioka in an emergency hitting situation when Trevino's up to bat. I mean, does it make sense?
I hear you. personally, Higashioka should have not gone in the game, period. Trevino, here's the thing why I say that. You have a day off today. He's going to be off. Secondly, he's the better defensive catcher. Why you want your defensive catcher in the latter part of your game to control the running game of the Mets? Because I didn't think the Mets, just in case. Also, he's a better defensive. And also, who was the all-star between the two of these players? Who was the all-star last year? And I'm going to say, well, Kev, what have you done for me lately? Trevino hasn't been hitting. Trevino has one of the most clutches bats for a catcher. When it comes to clutch hitting between, and I'm going to use those two. Those are only two sample size we have here. If I want between Higashioka and Trevino in the late game situation to get me a hit, and it's gonna save my rear end, I'm going with Trevino. I'm sorry, I'm going with Trevino to save my bacon. And he's already in the game. That nine, and I wanted to hold on. I wanted to talk about the pitching, but let's go right into the moves heel. You made this is the third time this moronic manager, and apologize if you offended me calling him a moronic manager. Again, I want to apologize because I'm a little bothered hot under the collar with it because he's done it over and over and over. If you're gonna make whenever you do pinch hitting moves, heel, and they're gonna keep the same pitcher, you normally go for the matchups. If it's a left-handed pitcher, you're gonna put a right-handed batter. If it's a right-handed pitcher, you're going to put a pinch hitter at a lefty. I don't get what's this third time he's gonna pinch hit a righty for another righty. The only time, be honest with you, Hugh, I'm going to be totally frankly honest. The only time you really do that, if you're going to send a hitter coming up to sacrifice himself and is a much greater bunter than that, and you're going to do situational hitting. That's when I will go righty with right, bring a pinch hitter right-hander or even the same side of the plate hitter. He did it before with Roughneck, Ben Roughneck for Willie Calhoun. He does moves like you said. Then when it comes to the extra innings, he's got no bench to pinch run when you have a ghost runner at second, and then the slowest runner in the team is stuck at second base, and you can't pinch run them because you have no one else on the bench. You blew your load in before the 9 innings.
Yeah,
it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, and I think that's a side of him just like really not trusting his players and really just trying to go for the home run ball. That's the way I interpret it. Because like the guys he takes out and then puts in, those are the guys that easily have more power than the other guy. When he needs to let the game play itself out, and he needs to think before making moves. Because like these guys have more power than the guys he takes out. Yeah, okay, that's cool, but here's the really cool thing about baseball. You can't always predict what's going to happen just because one player has this one skill set over the other. Sometimes you got to think about the move before you do it, especially if you only have like no outs or 1 out, need be the situation. For example, like I keep saying, I know there was like one baseball fan who was like, we need a platoon catcher, Roughneck and Trevino. It's like, no, that's not it. I mean, yeah, Roughneck might be good once it comes to the Yankees, and that's not the issue. I mean, you have your third emergency catcher in IKF. I mean, if you don't trust him at catcher, then fine, get Roughneck on the roster. But I mean, let's be real. If you you need to have a third emergency catcher for the extra innings, because when you're in another situation where you have to pitch run for a catcher, because let's be honest, Torino and Gachioka can't run, and that's exactly the situation they were in the last game, then you're going to have to pitch run for him. Because I'll be honest with you, I still remember that sac fly, or sorry, not sac fly, but the ball that was hit to Nemo by, I think it was, I forgot who it was, but anyway, he hit a ball hard in the center, and I believe it was Nemo that was playing center that game. Nemo has a good arm, but not the best arm. If you get a decently fast pitch runner on there, he probably could have tagged up and went to third. And then and then like you basically said before, the one thing I definitely was not down for, regardless of whether he has more power or not, was IKF, because that man was on fire last game. He was bringing it all. Like, he stole home. He was getting hits. He could run. I'm like, even if he doesn't hit a ball into the outfield, and advance the runner, even a simple infield hit, because we all know IKF can run. There's no secret at this point. Even if he gets on base, that simple thing can spark a rally. We've seen it before. Rather it's a home run, a single, hitting the gap, whatever. Simple things in baseball can mean the biggest thing at the end of the day. And I think that's one thing he doesn't understand.
I'm glad you mentioned Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa almost single-handedly stole that game from the Mets. There was the ball that was hit, like you mentioned, it was a tailor-made double play because of IKF's foot speed caused Jeff McNeil to throw the ball into and made an errant throw that allowed the run to score and IKF to reach on a fielder's choice. That's the inning that led IKF to steal second base. On his way to stealing second base, the errant throw to the outfield allowed IKF to go on a catcher's error to third base. Later in that sequence, IKF steals home on Francisco Alvarez and the pitcher. IKF was playing extremely well, like you said, energy. He was bringing energy. He was bringing it. I understand you had a runner at first, or was it? I believe that was the ghost runner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, ghost runner.
And he decided to take IKF out for Gleyber Torres. Now, I just gave you Gleyber Torres, who's batting 200. He's batting 200 since June 5th. Gleyber Torres has had some mental errors in the infield, causing errors that they could have lost that game easily. Game one with his mistake when McKinney threw that ball, or actually that was the Red Sox game on Sunday night. Torres didn't deserve or earn the opportunity to pinch hit for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in that spot. Case in point, because then when it went to extra innings, you could have put Gleyber Torres as your ghost runner. Like you said, that ball that was hit to center field, he could have easily been a faster runner to tag to third and so forth. The utilage of the players, it's like you're like, what are you doing? He looks more like a damn babysitter out there, the manager, than the manager. Yes, do they like him? I believe the players love Aaron Boone. They will play for Boone because they keep winning over 100 games for some, and it's because they like this manager, because he's not riding them. He's not, at least in public, it doesn't seem like he's verbally, he protects them for strike three calls for the umpire. He has more fire for the umpires than that aggressiveness. I want you to be aggressive with your managerial decisions. Alex Cora ate your lunch in that extra inning games against the Red Sox last series. This series here, although Buck, he haven't had a good baseball year. I thought he was gonna bunt. I'm surprised he didn't. It worked out the way it worked out for him yesterday. I tell you one thing: Judge is hurt. If Judge is in right field, no disrespect to Bowers, he's played very well. Judge catch that ball with his height and the way he comes to go back on a baseball. Judge makes that catch in right field yesterday. Nimmo doesn't get that walk off. It would have been a long sacrifice fly, and I think the game would have continued for one more batter. Maybe they lose the next batter. Nimmo, maybe after Nimmo, Alvarez hits it and they win. Who knows? We can't assume. I know Judge would have caught that ball in right field. My point is, all these stupid moves, where then when you need the baseball strategy to come in, you don't apply it or doesn't use it. No way again. That was that same when you have now first and second, you don't want to bunt Volpe. I don't get why Volpe doesn't bunt. He's not batting. He's batting 192. Yes, he has good power number. Phenomenal, great. And not every time Volpe has to be the poor guy that you're going to pick on him, bunt all the time on Volpe. But you have to know your situational heel. You have to know your situational baseball. And I feel that this manager doesn't know his situational baseball. It's like, now I'm just going to wait for the 3-run bomb. It doesn't come all the time, heel. It doesn't come all the time. It's exciting. It's phenomenal. We love it. I love playing the home run trot here on the channel. but I get more excited when it happens to the small ball when they execute something well. They're not doing it here. Now, my question: do you think, as an outsider look, is Aaron Boone a World Series caliber manager?
No, and a matter of fact, he's the American League version of Dave Roberts, as we all saw, and I even been saying even before I found this channel. He literally gets covered up by a really good team, and I know people are gonna say, "But you've been like harping on the team." Yeah, it's true. They have been really bad without Judge, but when this team is still good enough to get in the playoffs, yeah, there is a chance they might miss it this year. I'm not gonna lie, because the Orioles, they've been getting better. The whole division's been getting better. Let's be real. When your whole division's over 500, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This might be the first year Yankees might miss the postseason. However, in past years and even this year, even if they make the postseason, I don't see Boone as a World Series manager, because they are just not only teams that are better, there are managers that are just better. I mean, you look around the league, and there are just teams that got their crap more put together than Aaron Boone and the Yankees. And like I said before, Boone just gets covered up by the fact that he keeps making the playoffs every year after year. And I think that sends a message to Brian Cashman and Steinbrenner that, hey, maybe we are just one player away. Maybe we are just like maybe that one extra year away or something like that. And it keeps sending mixed signals to the front office. And maybe that's also telling it's what, Hal Steinbrenner, that's the one today. Yeah, maybe it is telling him like, oh, the fans are complaining, but Yankee fans always complain. They'll see that one year we'll get ours again. 28 is soon. It's like, no, you gotta understand, the baseball world is getting more intelligent. The baseball world is getting more talented. I mean, you look around the league, especially the American League, like there's a lot of teams over 500 right now. And I get it. You can make the excuse that it's still early, but I mean, you look at all the talent, and you look at all the managers they have, and how much chemistry those teams have compared to like the Yankees. We could live in a reality where a lot of these teams are getting over 500, and the Yankees are struggling to get in the wild card. As a matter of fact, that loss to the Mets yesterday, I think, knocked them down to now they're struggling to get in the third wild card spot.
Interesting, because they're 9 games over 500. They're one more win, they'll be back to 10. So if I salute to everyone in the chat there that's joining us. We appreciate you guys joining us here this afternoon, early evening. Now, my point, they're 9 games over 500. They're over 500 baseball team without Judge. We all know Carlos Rendon, if he decides to ever get healed and wants to pitch, he's able to pitch. Harrison Bader should be coming off and make a 3-week appearance for the Yankees before he returns on the IL. This is the same. It's like rinse and repeat Groundhog Day with this team. Guy come in, Bader's gonna come in. He's gonna enjoy. He's gonna make. Oh, Bader, my God, he's hot. Look at him. And here we go. He wakes up the next day, wipes his ass, and he's back on the IL. The same thing with Giancarlo Stanton, who just can't stay healthy. There's a lot of can't stay healthy, and then the Yankees play with the kid gloves on these players. Oh, we got to be careful. And the kid gloves, and they still get hurt. I'm at the point, Heel, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm like that father that wants your son or the child to learn how to swim. And I'm a responsible parent. I'm going to have an adult in the pool. I'm just going to throw the kids in the pool and have them learn how to swim. And if, he struggles, and I'm there but he's the team. And my point is, they have to take the kid gloves. They're paying this. They're investing a lot of money on these players, and they're not playing. Stanton, you know what? You're going to have to play. There's no reason why in a series where we're sandwiched, he only plays, one of the, I'm glad he played both of the games against the Mets, but my God, we have to start taking some of these kid gloves there. Severino, another one. It's just like, he's like, I don't know. I just can't. It's as a fan, it frustrates. And you know why the Yankees are going to stay the way? And like you were saying earlier about the Steinbrenner and the upper brass, Well, we have all year. We can't listen to the fans. You know how we listen to the fans? When that money doesn't come in, when we stop attending the games or not going, if when in and not merchandising, not spending our hard working money for supporting the team until there's a change. And I'm not advocating for that. I'm not. I'm gonna be here doing all the watch along still, regardless of them winning or not winning. I'm still gonna root for the New York Yankees. I'm still gonna go my fandom. I'm gonna wear it on my heart as well as my sleeve. My point is we keep supporting it, and our voices are not being heard. And I know there's a saying: if you listen to the fans, you end up sitting with the fans. I get it. I get it. I understand that. But damn, right now we're doing the definition of insanity. Doing the things over and over and expecting a different result. And we're doing this for 6 years now. The same thing. And again, I hate to say it, we're gonna get the same result here. And this is a big pivotal trading deadline here. What they're going to do. And I can hear you can hear me say, "Well, we got some kids coming up in the pipeline." I get it, but do you trust it with this manager? Since 6 years he's been here, everyone's been getting injured. I mean,
Yeah, and I just took a look at the wild card. Right now, Baltimore will be your first, Houston will be your second. Yankees are in third, and the Yankees right now are fighting for that third spot. Ironically, against those boys in LA you hate, the Angels. They're 1.5 game back, in Toronto. It's also 1.5 game back.
and that's big. That's big. That's big, Keel, because I'm not worried about Anaheim because they don't have that pitching pedigree. Because they also, we don't know, just looking ahead, just to take off, come off a little bit of topic. Anaheim, do they sell Shohei? Because they look like they're not signing. It looks like he's no one. On the case, it sounds like he doesn't look like he wants to be back for that organization. So he's moving. That could, hey, stranger things have happened here. Could we see Shohei Ohtani be moved and the Angels go on a run to catapult them and say, and let's show the world that we really didn't need this guy. We're a team. We're not a one-man team, and that happens. We've seen that when teams get better. By addition, they subtract, and they actually instead of going back, they end up taking a couple leaps forward. That happened with Anaheim. You never know.
Well, actually, that sucks for both me and you, because since they see themselves in wild card contention, that means the Angels might be buyers at the trade deadline, and they might start to contend.
I doubt it, Heel. I doubt it. The reason why I say I doubt it, they're changing ownership. I think Andy Moreno's selling, right? He's still selling. He's still selling the team.
I can check on that. I think it died down actually.
Let's go with that. Moreno's looking to sell the team. They're already showing indication Shohei's not returning. They don't want to spend more money. I don't know if they're willing to make a move there. I don't know what their farm system looks like either.
He's not selling the team. He's maintaining the ownership, reported by ESPN.
Okay, so he's not. There was reports he was looking to sell Moreno. He's very wealthy, by the way. Very wealthy owner, under the radar type of owner for the Anaheim Angels. Don't know what their farm system is in Baseball America. I don't know if they're drafting or developing. They haven't developed really great players in quite a little bit since Trout and a couple times, at least for pitching wise. So I don't know what their farm system, how intriguing, because you never hear their names. We'll do that in a different video, see how many prospects of top 100 prospects the Anaheim organization has ranked in baseball, for them to make moves unless they're willing to eat salary from other teams, high price, players that they're pitchers that are making a high number. I'm going to use, and it's not going to happen. I'm using that as an example. If they're willing to eat Scherzer's remaining contract, and the Mets can move and they look for sellers, that kind of move, and they don't have to send nothing but a low-level prospect. They eat money. But I don't think the Angels are in business in that way. The team that we have to worry about, all of us, me and you, Hill, is the Blue Jays. I know they always choke, but a broken clock is correct twice a day. And maybe this is the Blue Jays' year that it might just sneak in finally as one of the postseason wild card representations, especially. But I know everyone said, well, we're panicking, at least for us at the Yankees prospect aspect. They're gonna get pitchers healthy. Yes, looks like we're gonna get some players healthy, but I'm just waiting to find out who else is gonna get injured then, because it seems like it's a revolving door of injury. This guy gets healthy, this one, it's a turnstile. Next guy is going to get hurt. Okay, and it's a cycle. I think I feel like we're chasing our tails when it comes to injuries for players that we really have high hopes on, and I'm just gets frustrated. I don't see where and how this gets fixed.
Well, let's just say how it is. Okay, right now, at this point, let's just say things remain how they are. Right, things remain really close for the Yankees. You know, the Angels, Toronto, they stay one game back. You know, you get in a big bidding war. You know, and obviously you're the Yankees. You still have all these guys coming up ready for a spot. Do you think Cashman is going to say, you know what? Let's just say, you know, dang with it all. Let's just give any team what they want, no matter what prospect it is, and let's just go all the way in this year.
You can't be responsible that way either, Heel. You know why you can't be responsible that way? Because we just finished talking 5 minutes ago. As we say hello to Jose Melo, who's joining us. We just finished speaking about a few minutes ago. We don't see the managers a World Series caliber manager. So why go all in? Why? It's like for me, let's say for instance, I mean you're at a casino right now, and you're playing blackjack. My Rain Man. You're my black, and I'm Tom Cruise, and I got all the freaking money. I got all this cash. And then or you're not even Rain Man, you're the mush from Bronx Tale, you know, and I got all this money, and I'm gonna give you all this money of my money for you, and you're a terrible poker player or blackjack player, and I'm gonna give you all my money for you to go and play and lose it. I'm not giving you all in. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they gotta know that.
I understand, but obviously Cashman doesn't seem that way. So I'm saying, like, do you think Cashman might just do that?
I don't know. I don't. You know, to be honest with you, I wish I could tell you a definite with certainty, yes or no, and I just don't know, Heel, because I don't know, because they could have went by certain moves that they would have done in the and again, everyone believes it's Cashman, but I don't know what Hal thinks. I know Hal spoke in a couple of days ago with the New York Post. They stopped him for an interview on the owners' meetings. He's talking about the team. He's gonna, if the team don't make success or don't make a certain threshold, everyone's gonna be reevaluated and so forth. I don't know if that's hot air or that's just to appease and what the masses want to hear for the puff piece. You know, maybe the writer says, I'm gonna throw you a solid here, just say, but I'm gonna put this word so you can have the fan base ease off a little bit on you and the heat and just go elsewhere. I don't know. These days and ages, I don't know what to trust or believe or what comes out. There's always a saying, and the saying goes, and it has a lot of weight to it in gold. Action speaks louder than words. And I gotta see when it comes to the front office.
Because a big reason why I gotta ask that question is because, you know, with obviously big names, you know, like Shohei and guys like that, on and on, becoming free agents, you know, eventually, if you're the Yankees, you might have to say one of these years and go all in, because guys like that are becoming free agents, they're signing these humongous deals, and these big free agents, you know, well, they're not going to go anywhere. Eventually, they're going to stick with one team for like years on end, you know, like Juan Soto, who would potentially be a free agent in this year or next year, something like that. When they're gone for years on end. You know, you don't get a chance like this to just like pile up on stars. So if you're the Yankees, you're in a weird situation where you kind of have to either play the game of like sacrificing your prospects to try to go all in 1 year and maybe even hopefully re-sign one of these guys to a long-term deal, or you just have to say, you know what, we trust what we have and just go with it. Because again, if you don't get one of these guys at least for 1 year, they're gone for years on end, and they're probably going to retire with that team.
I hear what you say there, and I agree to an extent with that, Heel, because we're starting to see, like you just finished saying a couple minutes ago, where you're saying baseball teams are getting wiser, and they're evolving, they're getting better. And case in point is A lot of these teams, like let's put the Guardians for example. When they have young talented players, they're buying and the Atlanta Braves, perfect example. They bought up a lot of arbitration eligible years and gave these guys some long-term contracts. Bought some eligible years before they and decided to sign them long-term on team-friendly deals. A lot of teams are operating like that are not going over a threshold in luxury tax or getting close to it, but they're being wise and signing their young talented players for a longer term to stay in the organization where they could build and develop their players. Now, teams are doing that there. Like you mentioned, when you have these type of players out there like that, you might have a case in point correct. You know, maybe there is a time that well might dry up immediately. Like for instance, you have those, like we're talking about the players. Let's name them. The Otanis, the Sotos. You know, who else is available out there? Burns might be a name that might be out there as a pitcher. You know, these type of generational or franchise changing players are out there currently right now, but once they're gone, they might not come back on. Or the next available crop of young talented players like Adam and Rutschman, you know, and I know he just got up and just this is his second year, but he's gonna get, you guaranteed Warriors are gonna lock him in for a long term on that. He will never hit free agent in his prime. So teams are getting wiser. That makes the question: do the big bad Yankees make a move like that? And when you have an opportunity to guys like that there, you know, 25-year-old dynamic center left fielder, whatever you want to call him, from left-handed bat in Soto, or a two-way player like Shohei Ohtani. I'm not a fan of Shohei Ohtani, but let's face it, he is a type of player that's going to draw eyeballs, and he's a marketable player, you know. And could they do that? Could the Yankees, should the Yankees do that? I feel this fan base probably at 70% will go for it, go for them, because we're the Yankees, and there's a 30% no, you got to be responsible. Because here's another argument, another side of the argument here. It's been since the Yankees are not really developing any star players other than Aaron Judge is the last superstar player, and of course he's an MVP caliber player for the New York Yankees. But Torres came from the Cubs organization. Let's be honest. He played 1 year under the minors. He got hurt. He played it well, and they bought him up. They really didn't quite develop Gleyber Torres the way, you know, under their system from Class A. I don't know. Mr. Steve, salute, Steve.
Yeah, because like even with the Braves, they got Sean Murphy and immediately wham, like they got him for like 7 years, I think it was, like 7 years. I think it was like 175. Like they're not wasting time; they're locking up these guys, and they're
Olsen. I believe Olsen got locked up with a new deal as soon as he came out to the Braves.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's not like the old school days where like teams would just let their guys be free agents, and the Yankees could just scoop them up and then be like, okay, well, we're this close to World Series. It's like, no, and you're being forced to develop your own talent, and thank goodness you have one in Aaron Judge.
Right.
But I think that's part of the problem too. Like I said, I think they're struggling to evolve with the new school rules of baseball.
Because you have someone who's been on the job for over 20 years, and maybe you know. And I'm not saying advocating for him to get fired. I'm advocating for him to be elevated to a position of team president. You know, be part of the organization. Allow someone else with different eye sets or different voice or different philosophy to come in general manage the team, bring in different personnel. And I got to give Cashman credit here this season, because again, I mentioned it before, and of course, if you heard me before, it sounds a little redundant, but those who's listening to the podcast for the first time will listen. I commend Cashman to bring it on a Sabian as well as a Manaya to get different voices, different set of eyeballs into the war room, let's say, or the conference room, to have a conversation about different players, seeing an eye for different talented players around the globe, you know, and different point of views. Sometimes when you have different point of views around you, you're going to see things that other eyes don't see. And then you make an assessment on, you know, and you know what, the pros and cons are different. You know, you might see something from a different perspective, from another voice. You know what, you're probably right. I never thought about it. You know, maybe it fits this way, so forth and so forth. So it's interesting to see that Cashman allow that, but maybe he needs to step back and allow someone to do the day-to-day there. Let's face it, we all wanted Chaim Bloom, and Chaim Bloom has been a disaster for Boston. He is a terrible general manager for the Boston Red Sox. A heavy analytics guy from the Tampa Bay organization. He came with a lot of clout, a lot of recommendation. Didn't work out. Not a good general manager. So sometimes we want to worry. Sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes it isn't. But damn, I think now with 20 plus years of seeing what Cashman has done and not winning World Series in 2009, you know, this might be the final subway stop for him when it comes to Cashman as a general manager. Maybe again, I think he's going to be able to go and move into the front office personally. Steve says no way Cohen allows the Yankees to outbid him for top free agents, given both teams are down this year. But I think Steve, we were just talking. I don't think there's going to be that those days of the high bidding war for players might not be there anymore, because we were just saying that teams, organizations are getting wise. The lower payroll organizations are locking their young players with a nice contract, where the young player who's not really quite proven, maybe a year or two sample size, gets a number, get his arbitration years bought out to get a long-term deal with the organization for team friendly that's not going to really excavate their baseball luxury cap hold, and they're able to get to stay long term with the team and still make good money, but not the great money if they were to go. And I think a lot of players are banking on that and taking that soft cushion money instead of making, you know, every year got to go to arbitration and get talked down by your franchise on why you shouldn't get a $1 million raise every year or two because you exceeded expectation and so forth. You get that long term when you don't have to even, you know what, season's over, see you. I'm going to be here for the next 5 to 7 years with this organization. I'm probably going to make 13 million. I don't have to work. Let's go. I think that's what's happening. I think those days of Cohen and Steinbrenner to be bidding back and forth are not completely over, but if they're going to do that, it's going to be for players in their second contract. After finishing their going to their second contract, they'll be in the mid-30s. I think that's what's the new wave of baseball.
Yeah, basically that tips like nobody wants him, but like as we're saying, like there's also like Wander Franco, who the Rays didn't even bother like waiting a year to re-sign him. Like right now with the Rays, he's under 11 years, $102 million with the Rays, Wander Franco.
Yeah, that's and he's a good player. You tell me, he was be a free agent this summer or this upcoming fall. He's one for 11 years, 111. You said. Yeah, 100. Guaranteed he makes 111. Sorry, I already cut you off. He'll probably get 120 for 3 years instead of 11 years. You see the difference? More money, would have got more AVA value if he would have waited on the free agent market, but a short term. Now he knows he's going to get a contract for 11. He's going to get paid for 11 years guaranteed. He gets hurt or whatever, he's still getting that money for the next 11 years. That's the new way. I think the baseball teams found the loophole, and also the owners could keep the salary down with the young dynamic players. Now the older guys like the Scherzer and the Verlander wants to make that big money, go ahead, because look what a disaster at least Scherzer has been for the Mets here, making $40+ million. Yes, they were. They were. The Yankees were lucky, George, that Judge was extremely loyal to them. Absolutely, because he could easily got more money with the Padres or the Giants, in my opinion, and I don't think the Yankees would have batted an eye to counteroffer.
Not only that, that's really his home state.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, like in hindsight, he has no reason to really come back here.
It's the same here. I know I made my life here for the past 20 years in Central Florida, but if a company telling me to do the same thing, hey, let's face it. Let's knock on wood. I get an opportunity to go work for let's say, I stop being my 9 to 5, and some way, somehow, they offer me to do this podcast and pay me a boatload of money to go back home to New York, with much more, handsomely rewarded. That's and back home. And I'm gonna get paid where I'm not gonna have to be living where I lived, and I had no problem when I lived in the Bronx. But I'm saying I'm gonna have more than enough not to live in the Bronx and live comfortable and doing something I love to do. It's gonna be tough to say, and then I go back to my company in Florida and I say, they're gonna pay me this handsome. That's good luck. basically, and do I stay loyal because, I like the weather here and I already know what I'm doing here, comfort zone, or do I take the chance and go elsewhere? Using that as an example, and Judge did a phenomenal job staying with the Yankees.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's
And I
another
agree
thing
with you,
too.
Jose Melo. I agree with Jose Melo. We haven't had a good scout since the late G. Michaels. G. Michaels was one of the reasons why we had a good farm system. He scouted, and of course, right now the Yankees, and we could push back a little bit on that there because the Yankees got a lot of kids up and coming. Remember, the Yankees also, Jose Melo, they've been picking later in the draft, and when it comes to Major League Baseball, due to the fact that they keep winning over 100. When you win over 100 games, you're in the postseason, regardless not winning the World Series, you're going to have teams picking ahead of you, and they're going to get better players to pick from than yourself. Again, this is where the scouting and developing and the eye of finding those gems, those rough diamonds in the gem. You have to have that good eye, and I don't think the Yankees would, like Stick Michaels, bought that. Remember, the Yankees were also atrocious in that 90 to 93 period, 90, 91, 92, 93, 89, around there 4-year period where they were atrocious. They were picking better players from the draft at that time. Also, with the stupid trades for Ken Phelps, moving and all those kind of different. Ricky Henderson played with Athletics, moving them along. The also for Dave Winfield, they managed to get good players and develop them in their system, unlike the Yankees currently now. But they do have a good crop of players in the Double-A system, from the Austin Wells, the Spencer Jones, the Sweeney, the Dominguez. You also have got you got Peraza, Esteban Florio to a degree. They've got some players that they're moving, making some moves there for the New York Yankees, elevating themselves. Even the kid Brito wasn't a bad pitcher. He's just not Major League Baseball ready. You also had the Vandy Vasquez. So far pitched well. I hope I get to see another opportunity with him start for the Yankees soon. He's another one that was impressive. Maybe he's not. They're probably a year away from really becoming a major league everyday pitcher. But there's future in the Yankee farm system. It's just right now with the guy that's running the team as a manager worries me. How is it that we're going to bring in Vandy Vasquez here and he's going to hurt himself? Look, Michael King, wasn't, thank God he didn't need Tommy John surgery in the middle, and he was pitching extremely well last season. And everyone that this guy touches seems to get injured here. It worries me with the young kids.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, that's one of speaking of under, I believe it's Jerome that made that comment. That that's why they had to start doing the lottery pick or whatever, because a lot of teams were actually intentionally tanking, so that way they could get these really good players and also combine them with their international signings. For example, a lot of teams in like the top 10, I think even like top 15, a lot of them will go on to win the World Series. For example, I'm looking at the 2019 Washington Nationals had the first pick. They drafted Steven Strasburg. What happened? World Series. 2019. Let's go to the 2010 one. Bryce Harper, again, World Series. They had back-to-back first-round picks. 2011. Garrett Cole, Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, again, we all know how that ended up. Carlos Correa, Houston Astros, World Series.
Correct.
Yeah. Houston Astros, again, World Series. Mark Appel didn't pan out, but again, World Series. Houston Astros again, World Series. Arizona Diamondbacks, they had Dansby Swanson though, but Dansby got traded, believe it or not, to the Braves. What happened? World Series. Yeah. Philadelphia Phillies, Mickey Moniak. Okay, that one didn't result in anything, but
they made a World Series appearance.
Yeah, they did. Minnesota Twins, Royce Lewis, still a good pick, but they haven't done anything with that one yet.
Correct.
Casey Mize, still a good pick, but now we're getting into like 2019. Baltimore Orioles, Adley Rutschman. Look what he's doing for the Orioles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then we go to 2020. Spencer Torkelson, Detroit Tigers. He's still developing.
It's still from there. Let's hold it in 2020 because right now there's still
Yeah.
time for players to develop. We could say, can we arguably say that 34% of those first round picks, or even higher, maybe we could say we're going to say 42% of those first round picks have changed and transcended their organization to start becoming a top postseason representation, and it's showing us that. And of course, if you're not in that, and of course, unfortunately, if you're picking in those spots, you have some really terrible seasons. Yankees have not had terrible seasons to be in that position to get and to be in those positions of selection. Doesn't mean that you can't find a smart player, a good player that will fit your organization. Fine tool player. There's, it might not be the diamond, the shiny. Look, the Phillies whiffed on their number one draft. The Twins didn't do so hot, and I think one of your Houston picks didn't pan out. Not all the time you're going to strike gold, but you have to be really bad to be always in that position there. And I don't think the Yankee fans want to do that. I don't want to be in that position. So again, Yankees got to Cincinnati Reds with Ellis de los Santos doing phenomenal job there. Absolutely, but the Reds have been a laughingstock for 3 years now. We don't want to be that. We want to continue to win. The problem is with the Yankees, we want to have our cake and eat it too, and that's a tough one because then they want to eat their cake, eat it too with a yoo-hoo.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Kev, this whole winning mentality is kind of like it's a good but bad thing too, because even if you want to go back to the Cubs, they had a lot of top 10 picks with like Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, I don't think Rizzo was in the first round pick.
He was a Red Sox. Red Sox.
Yeah. But point is, they ended up with him too. But Wilson Contreras, obviously, they ended up with a lot of good high draft picks. And the one thing the Yankee fans will never let go, and I don't blame them, because he's gonna end up a Hall of Famer, no matter who you think he's better than or worse than, whatever have you. The Mark Teixeira signing, and
yes.
And Mike Trout ending up going to the Angels. Granted, yes, they haven't done much with him yet, but imagine Mike Trout and Aaron Judge with that outfield, like Hector brought up one time.
But I don't think we get Judge if we would have gotten Trout.
I'm just saying though,
things happen for a reason, because he would have been an impactful player and they were going to change. I don't think things happen for a reason here. Because maybe they might not even bat an eye looking at Judge because they had Trout in their system. Why do we get another player? We have somebody for years to come. So things happen for a good reason. You can't put those hypotheticals. Well, we would have, we would have drafted Trout.
It's fun to think about.
It's fun to think about. Yeah. I get you. In fantasy world, in a multiverse universe, like they say, but I think they wouldn't have went that route. But you never know. They ended up drafting a Spencer Jones, and he's like another Judge on the left side, 6 foot, another 6'6", 6'7" prospect that could hit. Although Spencer Jones might have been a fallback in case Judge would have walked and moved on to like we said, in the free agent market, and they have another guy at that type of stature. Like exactly, Jose Melo. If my grandma had balls, she'd be my grandfather. Yeah, I mean exactly. What if? But it's tough there. It's at the end of the day here, where we go back. All it goes back down to who's the head of the table. It's another wrestling term. Another head of the table here, and it's Boone and Cashman. They're the ones that are head of the table. They're the ones that can ship. They're gonna navigate the ship that's called the New York Yankees 2023 season. The players are going to work by their work. Their body of work is going to tell you where they're going to go. But man, when you have a manager that doesn't put your team in a better situation to improve the team, and his moves hamper it and makes you and I don't know. Let me ask you off topic. Did you get to watch the last John Wick movie, John Wick 4?
I'm not really a big John Wick fan, so no.
I'll make a story real quick with the John Wick movie. There's a part of John Wick he has to go on a duel fight by sunrise. He has to go up 220 steps, all the way up, like the steps from the Joker movie that he has that they see the Joker in the Bronx. He has to climb all the way up there, and he's got to fight all these idiots, these bad guys that prevent him to make it up the steps. And he's climbing up the steps, and he's almost there, and then a whole set of bad guys come, and they knock the crap out of him all the way. He rolls all the way back down the steps there. That's what Boone is doing. My point is, that's what Boone is doing to the Yankees, to the players. Like Garrett Cole was nearly perfect for 5 innings, almost 6 innings of perfection. He gets stumbled, he falls down, and then here comes Boone taking the ball, and it feels like the whole team rolls all the way back down the damn steps. And that's a problem. But hopefully Brian Cashman could bring some players and help him like the movie, have Mr. Wan help him get up the stairs and help him with the dog. Maybe they got a pitcher, maybe they get hitters, and help him climb up the stairs in order in time for that duel, in time for the postseason. Can we get reinforcement? The point is, can the Yankees get reinforcement to help them not fall back down the stairs again and get into a postseason run? I'm hoping. Listen, I've been saying it. I'm hoping that they get healthy and they go on a run to get in and finally be playing their best baseball right before the postseason in September into October. We haven't seen the Yankees play their best baseball going into the postseason. They're always backdooring some injury, some conundrum, some anomaly. Some idiot gets a tattoo right before the postseason and he can't go on. Some other guy gets hurt. This guy's not this, and that. Always a situation when the Yankees get to postseason time. I hope they come more healthy where there's no damn excuses. Because it seems like we always got some type of excuse. DJ was hurt. This guy was hit. This guy, and I'm hoping this season, if this is going to be the final run that we're going to say they're going to pull the plug on Aaron Boone after 6 seasons with Cashman, I want them to give him more healthy because I don't want to hear no damn excuse anymore. I want him to be exposed as the bad manager that he is in the postseason.
I just got a question for you and even the Yankee fans in the comment section. Obviously, it'll never happen, but I'm just saying, like, if let's just say one day the Yankees did decide to start tanking, do you trust your scouting to actually like draft like solid to good players?
Yes. Here's the reason. From what we're seeing in the AA and in the single A development, we having some players that are making noise in the top of, and of course, back again to what we were talking about a couple seconds ago about was the Yankees, the way they're ranking their system, where they're picking in the draft because of the winning, and where their prospects are ranked amongst all MLB's team rankings. They have a lot of top talented players in the Rising Star games. You're going to see a couple familiar names that we hear about. Like I'm going to say Melo, I don't trust as the team physicians. The strength and conditioning and the team physician, I'm having a little bit of a doubt with, because we're ever since G Monahan retired, we've been having some bad. We can't seem to recover from G Monahan as the team physician. Strength and it's always been something after another with injuries. And my goodness, that man, and he's still alive. Maybe bring him on as a consultant. Maybe he's just done with the whole baseball stuff. But damn, can we have him on with a damn consultant to see what's going on, to overlook what's going on with the team physician, the health-wise? Because we're starting to see a lot of that. Heck, we've seen that way too much. The injuries, the calf pulls. The judge is a mistake. It's a freak injury, but the cerebral trauma. From Bader, Stanton. Maybe we got to start saying less to the weights and more, plyometrics or core training. Bring DDP in there for his yoga, something.
DDP Yankee yoga. I don't know.
I mean, Jesus Christ! It's like these guys. The guy can. I'm afraid I'm gonna hear a player went to go use the bathroom and he pulled the hamstring. It's like, yeah, it's tough. It's hard. Dave salute Dave and I want to read his comment there. We have 2 or 3 good players already in the system. Yankees are afraid of change. Get rid of Donaldson, bring up these guys 1 to 24, 25. I'm looking the names now. Yeah, You know, if you want, and I've been Davar, if we're not going to go and get the big guy like a Juan Soto, you know, we're not going to go that big game running because it's easy to say that go get this guy. If you're going with one of the most important positions in Major League Baseball, Dave, and it's shortstop, and you're giving it to Volpe, who's batting under 200, how bad? I don't think Jason Dominguez is going to look atrocious playing center field, tracking a baseball down in the outfield, and throwing the ball to the bases. And you know what? He's got a prominent bat there. I don't think he's going to be terrible from what Donaldson is giving you. At the, you know, Donaldson. I hate to pick on Donaldson because Donaldson does play a hell of a third base. He is playing the platinum Gold Glove third base. I hate to say that, but his hitting and his approach at hitting sucks. It stinks. But damn, I would love to see Jason Dominguez up in the major league level personally, because I think he could really open some eyes.
Yeah, that's why I'm a big proponent for trading for probably like a bat and definitely a closer for the Yankees, and calling up Dominguez, because like imagine you're basically like I don't care how much you like Bowers or McKinney or like that. You're basically playing baseball not even knowing who's your left fielder every day, and having an outfield, a Bader, Judge, Dominguez would at least solidify that those three outfield spots every day. Like Judge and right, Bader in center, and Dominguez in left. That'd be a nice 1-2-3 punch. It's obviously going to take time for Dominguez to get used to the majors, but you're like you said, you're letting Volpe do it, so why not let Dominguez do it? Let him get used to the majors. Let's see what he can do. Bader, we all know he should be your everyday leadoff hitter. He can run, he can hit, he's good when he's healthy. Judge, I mean, I don't have to say anything else. I mean, Donaldson, for me, we all know he was hot for like a good cup of coffee, but you can tell he's starting to want to cool off now. Just either put him on the bench and call someone up, like maybe Peraza or something like that, and let them play third. Or you can even let LeMahieu play third. We saw what he can do at third base. He's a better hitter than Donaldson, and he can play you, a Golden Glove type of defense at third. And Volpe, if you're gonna just let him develop again naturally at short, or let Peraza play short sometimes too. Second, I guess Glaber's fine. At second for now until you want to trade him or so. Rizzo, and then Cabrera, I guess trade eventually or whatever. There's a lot of options you can do with the Yankees roster, and for some reason, it's just like they refuse to do it.
I agree with you. Personally, in a perfect world, which is not a perfect world, like you said, it will be Dominguez, Bader, Judge. If you want to make your fourth outfielder IKF, who's been, I got to give him a lot of props. I'm very excited the way he's been moving around and playing well in the outfield, and he wants to be on the team. That's the thing. What I love about IKF, he wants to be here. He's like, wherever you want me to listen. If you want me to be here, play center field. Oh, you want me tomorrow night to carry the equipment? As long as part of the team, I'm gonna carry the equipment. And I'm gonna play center field wherever you need me. I love that attitude from IKF. Donaldson, listen, I saw the great way Box been pinched was in a platoon situation in 1996 with Charlie Hayes because the way Box defense was lagging a little. There's nothing wrong with a platoon with LeMahieu and Donaldson. Do you know what? Donaldson is the better defender late in the games. You know what? I'll take it because Donaldson, believe it or not, even though he stinks, but he could run into one in a late game situation. You know what? I'm okay with it. Even also, Anthony Rizzo, he might not be a full healthy. You got DJ LeMahieu where you could put him in the corner. I will have Volpe. Be honest with you, Volpe should be my second baseman and Peraza be the short. I don't like Peraza, be honest with you. But if everyone's telling me Peraza is a better defensive metric at shortstop than Peraza, than Volpe, but I gotta see him. And the thing is, we're running out of baseball games to see Peraza at shortstop to let me know if he's a Major League Baseball shortstop. That's the only problem is, we should now when guys were hurt, instead of playing and fiddling around and pussyfooting with the Willie Calhouns, the Bowers, and the McKenna, they should have brought up Peraza to see what we have in for these games, to see what he's available, what is he capable of in play wise, because now you have to know, do you have to make a move for a veteran or backup shortstop? I know IKF is there, but we got to find that out. What do we have there? I think Gleyber Torres's days. I think Gleyber Torres's time with the New York Yankees is coming to an end. I think his welcome mat is running short because and I don't know what is it. This is another second baseman that looked like he looked so nonchalant, disinterested to play second base. We saw that at some time with Robinson Cano. He looked like he wasn't disoriented, didn't give a crap about playing a world of talent. But at the end, it's like second base, like they nonchalant. I don't know if it's because they're so talented, it looks easy, but it come across as nonchalant at play at second base. And man, we can't have that. We need, Robinson came on like house on fire, Cano, and then he just started nonchalanting and getting, I'm too good at second. I don't know if it's a trend that I'm starting to see with the Yankees at second base worries me. But my point, the perfect world, Volpe, Peraza, or another shortstop from outside. I don't know if anyone's available, whatever the case is, and Rizzo at first. I want to back, and behind the plate, Trevino and Rodman, and see you later, Higashioka. I'll go with that there. And if anything were to get any one of these guys get hurt, then Austin Wells is my shortstop, not on the roster, but just in case. And when the minute one goes on the IL, he's the first one calling up from the minors to come up there, and we'll go away. We go with that personally, with that. And I would like to see Randy Vasquez get an opportunity to win the number 5 starter role. And if they don't make a trade, of course, I believe they need to make a move from the outside. I've been saying Cody Bellinger, but I'm trying to say if we want to fix the Yankees without making moves within, and we want to save money within house, I think that's the move we need to do within house, guys. Again, it's easier to say pluck this guy from this organization, pluck them in here, put them in here, without giving up some of these guys. But if we want to fix internal, and it's like when you have a leak at home in your house and Home Depot is closed, you're going to open up, if you're a tradesman, you're going to look for whatever you can to fix that leak from the pipe. And I think the Yankees could find and fix their leak internally to a trading deadline, if they're not going to make a move. And I think that's the move they should go. I got to find out. Again, I keep forgetting here to find out when is the hell the moratorium is for the young players for their service time to be not added on to the major leagues. I think it's coming up any day now, man. Any day where you could bring up a minor leaguer, it doesn't count as part of as the year service time, and they could still have control with them. I think that date is coming really rapid, and that's where I would love them to bring up Dominguez up, man. Show me what you got, Dominguez. Obviously, you don't believe in Florial. You don't believe in Parada or Prada, whatever the other guy that's out there. You don't believe in the other outfielders you have in AAA right now. Everyone talk about Dominguez top 100, and you know what? Let's do it. Let's go. He could run the bases. He's fast. He's got a glove. He's been playing the outfield. He's not an infielder pretending to be an outfielder too. That's another thing that kills me with this team. Now they're talking about Gleyber Torres with the struggling offense might play outfield. Why move another infielder to the outfielder? Why take people out of position? When you're a jack of many trades, you're a master of none.
Yeah, like, do you just love seeing picking flowers, or what's going on?
You heard a rumor of Red pitchers, Alexa Diaz, but Melo, that the Cincinnati Reds are one game under 500. Hold the horses on the Reds being sellers there, Jose. They're growing. They're up and coming. I don't know where they stand in the wild card situation or division wise, but when you're close to that 500 mark, I don't know if they want to be sellers yet. I mean, they're still playing, 4 or 5 weeks left of baseball where they could fall off the earth. I think the Marlins are going to start falling off the earth a little bit here, and they might be rapidly descending, and where they might be all of a sudden sellers. Of course, everybody likes Luis Ariz, but let's see. There's still a lot of baseball left. Hey, even the Yankees could fall off the earth here, it being 9 games over 500, and they could be sellers. There's still a lot of weeks of baseball, but the Reds, where they are 34 and 35, right, Hugh, or 35 and 36.
The Reds.
Yes.
I'm checking where they are in the wild card standings, and they are 2.5 games out of the wild card. Apparently.
That's plenty of baseball left to make a move. And their record?
34 and 35.
34 and 35. Right now, almost hit it on the nose there. I said it the first time, but I wasn't sure with no conviction on it. And that one game under 500, Heel. The Reds.
Mm-hmm.
We saw how pathetic they were in the beginning and how bad they were. And look at that. They could turn it like this, or they could fall off in the face of a vert with like a turn of a hat. So there's still plenty of baseball left here. Maybe we're panicking again, because we do as fan base, because we become fanatics. That's the short definition for fans. But
I come to realize this too. Like, and again, I don't want like any of you to take this the wrong way, but I notice like fan bases that tend to panic are those that don't really quite believe in their team yet. Like, for example, I notice, like, I don't know if you study your own body language when you watch certain things or not, but for example, when I watch your guys' like body language or tone when you guys watch the Yankees, and then when I watch, my teams, I notice I watch them, and obviously I still get upset when they lose, or or like if they do something I thought was questionable. But when you guys lose, I can tell it comes from like this really deep inner frustration in terms of like we can be way better than what we are. But then when I lose a game, whether it's the Astros or the Rangers, I can tell I lost in a way where it's like, they got us this time, like touche. And that's why I don't think I'm as like mad about it like you guys are. If that makes sense.
No, I get it, because we
yeah. And again, I think that comes from the form that I got now two of the best managers in baseball, and Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy, and my teams are more structured, better, And then the Yankees, you got Boone and Cashman, who I think don't have as much chemistry from front office to manager, and then on top of that, they're more best friends with their players, I feel like, than they are, managers to their players, if that makes sense. Like it's just there's just a big difference. Like, and the Yankees are still a really good team. It's just like they're missing that it factor.
Right.
Yeah.
They're missing the straw. They're missing a straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, I don't think it's Judge.
No, it's definitely not Judge.
Everyone thinks it's Judge. It's not Judge. There's missing a straw that stirs the drink, like someone who's it's just the player that it's a fiery winning type of player. I don't know how to pinpoint it, because they didn't have that with the dynasty teams, that straw but they had silent assassins in different aspects. In your pitching, you had a closer that was a silent assassin in Mariano. You had a silent assassin in the starting pitching in Pettit. You had a silent assassin at your shortstop in the infield was Jeter. The one that was a little rah-rah was Posada behind the plate. But even before Posada took over, it was Girardi, who was that steady behind the plate, who called a good game. We right now, Trevino, I can say Trevino is on that level behind the home plate that call a good game and get the pitching. Starting pitching wise is not a Yankee problem. Even the relievers are not really a problem for the New York Yankees. Is that missing of the other things, the other ingredients. To me, they're like a jigsaw puzzle. They have pieces, but the person that's assembling the jigsaw puzzle is not putting the puzzle correctly. And I mean by outfielders in the infield and mismatch and and that's kind of issue there. You're trying to play with different you got Legos, but you're playing with the off-brand Legos with the Legos, and they're not fitting, they're not working, and that's the whole thing in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that's not to say like my teams don't make mistakes. Like there was one time Jeremy Pena tried to play hero, and they ended up letting the Guardians tie the game. But if he did do that, we would have won the game on a double play. Every teammate makes their mistakes, but for example, I know there are some Yankee fans that are like 50-50 on A-Rod. Some like you either love him or you hate him because like
Correct.
he did try really hard to fit in. But as much as you to the side that hates him, as much as you dislike A-Rod, he really wanted to win. He was a winner. You could tell he wanted to win no matter where he was at. And he brought that fire to the Yankees. Like, yeah, again, I agree he did try too hard to fit in, but you can tell like if he thought something was wrong with the umpire or a player or whatever, he wasn't afraid to snap back at you. And he brought that fire and the energy to the clubhouse. Like and then you had the balance of like I guess you can say the fire to the ice with Jeter, who was there to like calm people down and tell people, hey, gotta keep our heads in check and whatever. And then you had Mark Teixeira, the two-headed, monster as you can call him or whatever. The guy who it didn't matter who you were gonna call to the bullpen, the right-handed or the lefty, he had power from both sides. And then not to mention you got the guy who betrayed the Red Sox and went to the Yankees because, and not to mention, here's the most important part. Do you, as much as we're ready for the next series, do you even consider the Red Sox Yankees really a rivalry anymore? Because it feels like both teams are on this weird path where it's kind of like this. And this is not me trying to be rude or anything like that. The Red Sox have just flat out been more of winners over the last 10 years or so. And as much as Yankees like to laugh at them being at the bottom of the table right now, or at least near the bottom of the table in the standings, you can tell there's something different still over there, that they have been doing more right. And then the Yankees said, even though they make the postseason, it's either they get eliminated by another team or it's been the Red Sox. And the Yankees just haven't had that one chip that they can rub into the Red Sox face, and the Red Sox already own 3 in the past decade or so. And at this point, it's pride versus, well, we're the Red Sox and we've been running this division for the past decade.
When that rivalry, the short-term success of the Red Sox here, because this is short-term, is greater than what the Yankees have done. The Yankees have been more in the postseason, more postseason bound with a more win total than the Boston Red Sox. But the Red Sox have what's the ultimate goal the Yankees put up there, is winning World Series championships. Now the big difference, they have a big difference is at the top with the manager. Alex Cora is a hell of a man. I told you that when we went to extra innings. Watch how he's going to eat Boone's lunch when the way he's going to manage the extra innings against Boone. The Red Sox got a much greater manager, baseball mind, because that's how, and it's not an ethnic thing either. But let's face it, when you're brought up in Hispanic baseball, when I'm talking about the Caribbean islands, either Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, or Venezuela, Cuba, wherever we speak Spanish, or from one of those countries that plays that type of baseball, you translate and you see them winning. He knows the situation to take the temperature of the team, or what his limitations are as players, or sometimes do something that teams are not expecting, and his team backs him up and execute the plays that he wants to do. Where Boone is like, no, wait, you're gonna hit a home run. We'll wait for the home run because analytics says that. And I think the Red Sox had this big disparity when it comes to managerial that makes it. And then people goes, oh, the manager don't really make a big difference, and the team have to execute it. Yeah, but if you put the team in the right position to where your team is going to find, you know what, coach, I think I could do that. You know what, let's try it, and they execute, and they're going to start believing in your coach. Oh, damn, you know what, you were right. Then it takes the team to another level, a gamble. But if you're just robotic and you're great, but you're great, you're great in the clubhouse because you go, hey, how'd it go? How's it going? How's it chipper? You want a piece of my gum? You know, it's nice afterwards to be one of the dudes in the back. Yeah, let's play some 5-card studs, whatever the case is. But when it comes to when you make a manager move and you play, and they play, and the thing is, they play for Boone. The thing is, the team plays for Boone. But then when it's Boone's time to play, to execute, to sit on the board, he's playing checkers with managers are playing chess, and then he gets his butt handed to him. And I think that's the big difference. And do I see a rivalry between the Red Sox and Yankees? No, because that rivalry is fizzling. It's very fizzle. I see, it's not as luster as it was before. 20 years ago, it's starting to fizzle every time. It feels like it's getting more and more and more unpolarizing, in my opinion. Heel.
Yeah, and as much as it was 1 year, like that was his first year, Aaron Boone, you could see this coming. He should have been fired as soon as the Red Sox came into your house and you let Brock Holt hit for the cycle in the postseason.
Yes.
And you let the Red Sox score what, 16 runs? If that was Hal Steinbrenner's father, he would have been fired without even a second thought. So you could see this coming from a mile away if you think about it.
I agree with you.
And not only that, if that was any team, he probably would have been fired.
I agree with you. So that right there.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry to cut you off there. Also, when the Yankees got swept by the Red Sox in the regular season at home, and I think they lost to the Mets, back-to-back series, and he kept his managerial job. Yeah.
So if you think about it, us fans, well, I should say us fans, but you get the point. Like you fans, and on top of that, like the higher ups, they've actually been really generous to Aaron Boone and way too nice. Because there's a lot of things that he has not done for this team. Like, I feel like to this point, he doesn't even fight for the pride of the Yankees. He just fights for his job and tried his best to keep it. And maybe he's not even worried about it because he already knows, like, hey, no matter what I do, I got this job secured because probably he's friends with Cashman and like that. It's like, no. It's like another YouTuber said before. It's like, no, like, dude, if this was your dad, like you would have been fired 5 times over by now, because like the Yankees aren't just like, and this is like no disrespect towards like my teams or anyone else's team, but the Yankees are just that team that you got to go in there and you got to want to compete for them day in and day out. You don't just come in there and play baseball. You gotta, you got to play with pride, you got to wear the pinstripes and want to wear them too, and you can tell with this team being lifeless and the team follows the manager. That's just the way it is. They follow the example of the manager, and you can tell by looking at him when they go to the dugout. He just looks lifeless. The only thing that's alive is him chewing bubble gum, and he should be fired. Like right now, he should have been fired back when he first got hired, because not only are you embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing the Yankees, because you let the Red Sox beat you that bad in 2018, and you let them go on to win the World Series. And on top of that, you let the Red Sox be the most successful team. Granted, that far I can agree. It's not just Aaron Boone's fault, because obviously, there were more managers beside him from like 2004 to like 2018. But if you really, really were Yankee deep down, you should have went into 2018 being like, guys, we gotta kick the living, out of the Red Sox. We gotta show them that this isn't their division to run. This is our division. And right now, like you said, there's got to be someone with that fire, and that guy with fire probably should have been Boone. I'll even go as far as say it should have been Boone, because Boone has that magical home run, and you think that he should have been the guy to try to get this team behind his back and motivate them to win, considering he has a taste of what it's like to win, but he doesn't. He looks like he doesn't care. That's just the truth. He doesn't care about the pinstripes. He doesn't care about this team. He's getting paid. He's going to the postseason once a year just to lose. He just doesn't care.
It comes across like that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you look at other teams that do care. They got players that are fiery, ready to play. They show life. They got their own motivational guy and everything. And meanwhile, you got Aaron Boone over there with no one to fire up the team, no one to show them. Like, again, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Joe, like just all the past Yankees, rather they're dead or alive, they should be. If you're dead, you should be rolling in your grave. If you're alive, you should be face palming right now. Because right now, the Yankees, one of the reasons why they're not the Yankees from the past is because they don't want to kick everyone's butts, especially the Red Sox. They don't care about being the most dominant team in baseball anymore.
I agree with you. Well said there. I've got nothing to add to that or take away from that. I totally agree with you on that there with that sentiment. And that's coming from a non-Yankee fan, by the way. Again, if you're hearing us and watching us, and you're watching this on the replay, he is a Texas baseball fan, professional Texas baseball fan. And that's what is seen from the outset. Imagine us Yankee fans, what we see night in, night out, or 6 years of this, of Boone. And of course, it's not good to call for anyone to get fired, but there should have been a change made in the off season, like you said back then. And right now, we're in the middle of a season. Usually, and you can say, well, wait a minute. Last year, the Phillies went to the World Series after making a change. You're correct. We seen was it the Marlins? Jack McKinnon came in an age catapult. But right now, in that Yankee dugout, in the list of coaches that are sitting with the New York Yankees as coaches, there isn't anyone in there that you could hand over the realms as a manager that will motivate or change this perspective of the team. Luis Rojas is the only one there, and it's like, I don't know if you're willing, and I don't know if and people seen him with the Mets, and I don't know, there's the jury's still out. There's no one in there, and I think they did that on purpose. And I've said it once, and I said it 1,000 times. When my final point was, the Yankees, when they hired Boone as their manager, they should have brought him with a managerial experienced bench coach, the way they did with Torrey with Zimmer. George had a feeling, remember the back of the headlines. If you remember, if you're an old Yankee fan, that's all when Joe Torre was hired, Clueless Joe as the manager. Everybody was killing Joe Torre as the manager, even myself, because I was a big Buck Showalter fan. I had the unknown, who the hell is this Joe Torre guy? Oh my God, he's a disaster. You know what? And I bought into that Clueless Joe situation. But here's the thing that was very underrated. They brought him in with some coaches staff around him. The Zimmer, Stoudemire. They bought some great guys. Contreras. They kept him with some good coaches there that understand winning baseball and the way they go. They should have supported Boone with some good coaches, but they were afraid because if he failed, the fan base like we want now, get rid of Boone and elevate bench coach to the manager. Right now, if I make a poll, who's the Yankees bench coach in line? Well, maybe the Yankee fans know because Boone gets ejected so much that we always know who becomes the manager whenever Boone gets ejected. But I guarantee you would ask it that a couple years, they would not know who the hell is who is the coach of the New York Yankees bench coach if Boone were to not be there. So it's interesting there. Yankees should bring a manager coach from the minors, but right now Shelly Duncan is coaching. Shelly Duncan isn't ready to be a major league manager yet. I'm gonna say, I don't think Shelly Duncan is. I think they're the AAA club. They have the young lady down in Tampa, Class A, one of their first women coaches. I don't know if she's ready to manage in the big leagues. I don't know if she can command the respect of the major leaguers yet, although it shouldn't matter if gender whatsoever. If you can manage, you can manage, because baseball is, if you know how to baseball and the X's and O's and manage strategic, it don't matter. Because I managed against a lot of good women who used to eat my lunch as a manager with the young kids. She was really good as a manager. I only beat her like 3 times. But it was in the postseason, but still, she kicked my butt through the regular season as a manager, doing out and maneuver. The point is, if you know baseball, you know baseball. And I think they didn't do a disservice. They did a disservice to Boone not to bring a strong baseball mind with X's and O's in that. And it just kept getting fed from the analytics and the buzzer up top. So it'd be interesting to see. I don't think the Yankees make a move in managerial. It is what it is. We're stuck with it, what it is, but it ain't going to stop us from venting and letting us know of how much we feel about Aaron Boone as a manager. We'll wait to see. I have no confidence here in this weekend against the Red Sox here on the road with this manager, with Bader. Maybe the Yankees win. Maybe they win the series. I feel, to be honest with you, I feel 45% the Yankees win the series against the Red Sox this weekend.
But that's the thing, though, Kev. It's like for example, even this year when they played the Twins, like that's the team you own, and you lost the series against them. And you split the series against the Mets. And you know what Aaron Boone had to say in the press conference? Oh, it was a competitive series. No, you should have just been honest. You should have been like, that's embarrassing. We just lost to we just split a series to a Mets team that was under 500. It's like, no, it's like Aaron Boone doesn't get the perspective or the reality. Like it says New York across his chest. It's like, no, you should say it was embarrassing. Honestly, we should have came in here. Like, yeah, you can be a little bit nice about it, but still say it was embarrassing. Like we had plenty of chances to win. I felt like, I probably could have done better. Something like that. Be a lot more honest with yourself. Don't just be like, yeah, it was a competitive series. It was a competitive game. Yeah, it's like, again, he doesn't have any life. He doesn't realize who he's managing or who he's playing for.
Right, and that's the problem. That's the problem we have there. And of course we see it. Hopefully they could turn it around. I see 45% chance they go into Fenway and take the series. I'm like maybe because recent series, but when you just lose a series to the White Sox, to the Red Sox, and the Mets, well, you split the series. You split the series with the Mets. You lose to the White Sox at home, and you lost at home to the Red Sox. Yeah, but Luis Sojo and Posada will love that. I don't know what they're doing now. If Luis Sojo is in a managerial position, we'll love to see that. That's the type of player that you want as a manager. Alex Rodriguez, I don't know if Alex Rodriguez is willing to manage a team. Jose, I don't know if the Yankees will put him as a manager due to the fact that A-Rod has a cushy job as an analyst with Fox, owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's an owner. He's a business entrepreneur. I don't know if he wants to do. I know he loves baseball, and I think if he were to be a manager, if he wasn't such a great player, I think A-Rod would have been a hell of a manager, because that man studies baseball, situational baseball. Regardless if you like him or dislike him, that man does know baseball.
Yeah, and if Boone loses this series, I don't want to hear any excuses for him. Again, this is the Red Sox you're facing next. You just lost a series again. You just lost a series to them. You can't afford to lose another one. Again, you're the Yankees. You got Yankees on your chest, Boone. Wake up.
Yes, and do you know? I know tomorrow do you have them? I didn't even look at the matchups for the next 3 game series.
Yeah, I had the matchups. I know
there you go.
The first game, I believe, was Domingo Germán versus Tanner Houck.
Turner Houck, that I knew, and I don't know what's going to be Saturday and Sunday's game. Obviously, no Garrett Cole for the New York Yankees. It's obvious. No Severino for the Yankees. So you're going to get the bottom part of the rotation of the Yankees, but damn, it's not like Boston's going to throw out some world beaters out there as starting pitcher either.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up again.
Sure. So we know it's going to be Domingo Germán tomorrow night. Then Clark Schmidt should be one of those starters as well. So it should be Smith as well. And then I guess they'll go with the number 5 starter, which will be either will they bring Randy Vasquez up? Who knows?
Yeah, let me just type in pitching matchup.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way. I think that's what it is. But I want to know what Boston's matchup is. Well, this is gonna be the last segment before we say goodnight. On it. We just wanted to give it time. We thought Chris was going to join us, but I guess he didn't. Wasn't able to.
I had it. There we go.
He was going to pull that up when he's ready.
Okay, here it is.
There we go.
Here it is. So tomorrow it should be Domingo Germán versus Toner Houck. Then the next game it should be Clark Schmidt versus Brian Bale.
A rematch. Bale was very impressive against the Yankees last Sunday.
And then the last game of the series should be Luis Severino versus James Paxton.
So Sevy's going, and he's been shaky of late too. So they won't go to the number 5 starter in Vasquez. So they will bring Severino. Interesting on that there. Again, Sevy looks shaky. Would he get roughed? To me, would I be surprised if he don't get roughed up on Sunday Night Baseball? Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Would he go out there and be dominant? He could, but usually when the Yankees play their former starters or former pitcher like a Paxton, they usually do good against the Yankees because they're locked in. They want to stick it to the New York Yankees for either trading or releasing them. So that's not going to be an easy game. Bello is another one that could, Domingo Germán, to be honest, has been the most reliant pitcher besides Cole on 1-2 for the New York Yankees. Interesting on that one there. But we shall see there. We will be here. Join us when we do the watch along tomorrow night. Myself, Heel, Chris the Flash, Lamario. If they show up, they'll be there. I know, and we'll go from here. We'll see what our New York Yankees do, how they adjust, how they will play out the season despite on the dumb manager. I mean, I hate to say that, but despite on how he does there. So he'll you said a well versed there. You say your thoughts there were really good from a perspective of outside the New York Yankee organization, how you see us. We're really evaluating and appreciate it there. If anything comes up, we'll definitely come back on for any video trades, moves. Here's the last one. You got 3 players coming up for Bader's spot. It's either going to be Bowers, Calhoun, or McKinney. If you designate McKinney, you're going to lose him out of the organization. So, and Oswaldo Cabrera is a name that could be placed. He has options. I'm interested to see. I don't know where the Yankees going. I'm interested to see how they maneuver their roster.
I hate to say it, but it has to be McKinney. Only because Calhoun, I mean, he can do what McKinley can, I feel like. And Bowers, I mean, he's just better defensively than McKinley. And on top of that, just too many left-handed bats, as you can tell, in the outfield. And on top of that, people that don't know, Calhoun can play second, or at least he used to. So,
all right. So that is the Bronx Bombers Strike Back. We want to thank you guys there. If you follow us there on all the different platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the ones that are listening to us in the podcast form, is Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, iHeart, Google. Please give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and we'll definitely ask you to share and like the content and join us, man. We're 10,000 subscribers strong, and we'll Jose Mello I'm gonna probably do basketball in about another hour, maybe a basketball. So you'll see that there. So I want to wrap this up there. So for me, BX Sports Jedi Kev and Mr. Heel, Western Baseball, and all the ones from the Bronx Bombers Strike Back, we'll say we'll see you tomorrow night, man. Have a good one. Peace.
It'll be a 3-1. Swung on and driven down the right field line. Fair, the game is over. It's a fair ball into the corner. Enemy scores. Johnny Davis.